1 to 2 years. So our scientists, by the time they figure out that what's going on in the area that's next to the low zone, which is my portion of Idaho, the problem's there before we ever figured it out. So I think you guys, I know that you're obligated to follow the law as we are, and we all want to do the right thing, and the right thing is to get this critter delisted. Is there any provisions for, do you have to follow what is written under 10J and require us to do a scientific-based document on every area that, or is there some latitude in there, some flexibility for you to give approval for 10-day actions on 10 of our units that are going to be in trouble before we can put together the requirement to get your approval for those 10 units?
I'm going to go back to your first comment, Mr. Chairman. I'll go back to your first comment. The federal rule failed, and my emphasis is that Idaho didn't fail its constituents, nor the requirements of the Endangered Species Act. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is deeply disappointed that we lost this case. We believed that this was a good rule. So thank you for your comment about maybe the federal rule didn't fail. I'm not trying to blame it on the federal court either, but I want to emphasize we believed that this was a successful path. We're sorry that it failed, but we want to take responsibility for the rulemaking and again emphasize the efforts and the successes in Idaho. On 10J, the 10J rule was just modified in order to take into account impacts on ungulate populations. It's under litigation. That you know it's already been challenged even without us even applying the rule yet. So I'm hesitant to say we have a expedient way of looking at it. Yes, we are going to demand a lot of science. Almost every solution that we have at this point that we can identify for Idaho is time consuming. We see that one as pretty fast because we understand that the state is ready to come forward with its proposal, get the peer review, have the public comment, and then, as I said, we'll turn it around in no more than 60 days. But I can't comment on the consolidation and whether there's a way to ease the burden on the science standards for that rule.
One follow-up, Mr. Chairman. Follow-up is when our governors basically come on to that and fairly strongly in favor of his disappointment in the rule failure, as you call it, and the state will do everything it can to try to get this mistake rectified. Have you got a copy of that letter?
Yeah.
From the governor? I do not have a copy.
I hope that we would give you one before you leave. And I would also hope that you would step forward as an agency and assist us in the appeal of this judge's decision, because I think that's the state's intent.
Mr. Chairman, do you have a comment?
Yes, please.
The Department of the Interior, this is a small print. The Department of the Interior and the Department of Justice have made no decision on whether or not they would appeal. That decision is made for many reasons, and some of which I don't always understand on the legal side rather than the natural resource side. But this is what I want to tell you. We are as strong and ferocious an advocate as we can be for the interests of this state. We operate continue in this state to address natural resource management. We supported the delisting. We will make sure your voice is heard in the discussion about appeal. That decision is not at all made on my own.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fred?
Yes. Excuse me a second, getting a letter from Randy here. It's follow-up to what Commissioner Thurman is asking. It's a well-known process in many endeavors that you do science on a problem. And then we're able to extrapolate what we learned to similar problems. And I think that's what Commissioner McDermott was suggesting, is that we look at, for example, the Lolo zone, and there's not a nickel's worth of difference between that and Cross Ridge over Union 7 and the drainage over there. So it makes a certain amount of sense to me that if we do it in other scientific arenas, that we could certainly verify rather than repeat the entire experiment by extrapolating one side of the ridge to the other. And I think that's what Commissioner McDermott was getting at. And I would ask that that notion be explored as we look at other areas within the state, because the similarities are obvious.
Mr. Chairman, we look at everything with an intent to try and find a path forward.
Rob, I had another question, and that has to do with the DPS and the interconnectivity issue. And, you know, being an Idahoan, we're kind of used to the fact that, you know, you trust a person and your handshake's good, and that's what we operate on. And as you said, Idaho's plan didn't fail. It was approved and it was a success. But yet the process failed us. And the reason, according to Judge Malloy, that the process failed was because of the DPS. And the fact that the service, to begin with, stated that the DPS was necessary and the interconnectivity issue was important for the three states. Although, to my knowledge, Idaho was never really included in making that DPS decision. We in Idaho like to consider ourselves as sovereign, and we like to be Idahoans. And we're wondering if the service has any, I hesitate to use the word culpability, but if accept any responsibility, and perhaps in retrospect, making that DPS decision without really including or asking Idaho about it, or telling them the possible consequences that we're obviously dealing with today via Judge Moore's decision.
Maybe, Mr. Chairman, it may be possible. I defer to your sensibility on how this came about, that there was insufficient comment by the state of Idaho, and I'm not in a position to refute that nor confirm it. But I am committed, and I believe Acting Director Dan Ash is committed, that we're not going to let that happen again. As we go forward, we're going to have open dialogue. And even though we might try to be moving fast in an arena where fast solutions seem elusive, we're not going to do it without collaboration, open comment. And I think by having somebody who focuses on wolves in Idaho working for us in Boise, actually is working for you, to make sure that we're delivering on both the listening and the sharing information part. I hope to remedy any past flaws in process.
Thanks, Ron.